Hyatt, 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 what are you doing to us? We're leaving you behind. More category changes. Should you quit Hyatt? All of that coming up right now on MTM Travel.
Should we put in like the Monty Python thing, like bring out your dead? Ding.
So happy Thursday, everyone, or sad Thursday if you're a Hyatt fan. I don't know. I mean, the Hyatt changes are coming next month. And where do we start here, Mark? Because this went from the darling of our space. I have been a top tier elite with Hyatt for, I think, 10 years now, maybe 11. So I've been a longtime customer of theirs. And, earlier this year, they announced that they're going to go to this 5-tier model. So every category can have 5 prices, Mark. It used to be 3. It used to be 1 back in the day. But then last week they announced 100 plus hotels that are going up in categories, huge category changes, a lot of value going from there. And I guess as we get into this, a lot of people are questioning their loyalty to Hyatt at this point.
Yeah, and we knew that it was going to be bad. It was going to be probably a 25% plus increase on cost for the same hotels when they rolled out this new award chart that has 5 tiers. And that's just talking about standard hotel rooms, because that's usually where most of their stays still fell into standard. So if you look from standard Cat 3 to the new standard Cat 3 and go on and standard 4 to 4, it's about 25% across the board. The lower end is a little bit less, and then the higher end, gets worse, but that's where it's going to fall. So we already knew that was bad. And now they have pricing that kind of goes up to 2 categories. Like, you can play a category 4 could be priced as high as like what a category 5 or 6 was in the past with these with this new setup. So it didn't seem like they needed to adjust anything. Like, that's already baked in. They already have these category jumps baked into the new award chart, but they're like, no, we're still going to add 100 or some hotels. Yes, 20 went down, but who cares? Most of them went up. And that's basically a 2 category jump. And that's what I went through on the one article showing, like, hey, a category 1 is going from 5K. Now it's moving to a category 2. But when it moves to a category 2, that goes from 10K up to 15K, talking from standard all the way to top. So you were talking triple the price for some of these hotels. It's just insane.
Yeah, take for example a category 4 that moves to category 5. The category 4 before was going to top out at 18,000 points. And now category 5 is going to top out at 35,000 points. So just that one category shift and the changes in direction essentially double on peak. So, I mean, it's just insane. And now Mark has written several articles about this, competing programs, how you're going to do different loyalty. We'll talk about some of that here today. But why did they have to do this? I think that's a question that you ask in your articles is couldn't they just skip a year, given the fact that they expanded all these different tiers, which allowed them to charge more anyway? Obviously, there's business needs. They base this on cash prices. But yeah, some of the few values left in World of Hyatt have gone away, or they're going from categories 4 to 5.
Yeah, and we've seen them shift to this. I mean, the first shift was all the really good category 4s all got moved up to 5s and 6s over the last 6-7 years. And then we saw a whole bunch of category 1s 2 or 3 years ago get moved up to category 2s. There used to be 5 or 6 different category 1s in Michigan, and there was 1 left. Now that's going to a category 2, which is technically like a category 3 price. So we lost any value on the low end. And that used to be kind of my bread and butter with Hyatt, was the Hyatt Place, the Hyatt House. Getting it for 5,000 points or 8,000 points a night was insane value for my family. And it was in crappier places. Like, we're not staying in New York City in these category 1s. We're in the middle of nowhere, Ohio. And the hotel was fine, but it wasn't anything great. Cash prices were probably around $100 to $150 back then. Offered a lot of value, but it wasn't like insane rates where, I don't know, maybe those hotels are going for $200 now, $250. So I could see somewhat that they got to bump it, but with these award chart changes, you've already baked that in. You don't need to move a category 1 to category 2 when the top end of category 1 already goes there. Like, you already have that built into the system. So you're just double dipping us, and it's just tone deaf, because they were always like, hey, we're different from everybody else. We're about the people. We care about our customers. We don't care about the hotels as much. Like, every other program cares about the hotel owners. We care about you. And now it's they've grown up. They all grown ups now, and they're like, no, we care about the hotel owners.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to like defend this or to say this in any positive way from a customer's perspective. And I like Hyatt a lot. I like some of the executives there. I have no hate for this company. I think a lot of people in this hobby or in this world, we take things so personally now. And I don't take this personally. This is just a business decision, but you should make a decision with your loyalty. I think you make a great point is that we've gotten squeezed on the low end because some of those great category one, category two values are now where they're not such a good deal anymore. Even, we're talking Hyatt Places and stuff that's not fancy. And we've really gotten squeezed on the high end. Hyatt used to be aspirational. You get to stay in nice properties, get that globalist status. So you could get the nice free breakfast at Andaz Maui or somewhere nice. And we've seen category 7 go from 30,000 points to 55,000 points, the introduction of category 8, which tops out at 75,000 points, meaning that the really nice Hyatts are almost unattainable at this point.
Yeah, and people are like, well, it's still cheaper than Hilton or Marriott, but okay, Hilton gives you 3x on everyday spend, gives you 6x in bonus categories. Hyatt for the same spend is giving you 1 or 2. So we're talking 3 times less. So yeah, so if we're looking at 75,000 and you multiply that by 3, you're at 225,000. That's right in the Hilton range. So don't act like it's any better when Hilton really pushes it up. I think they all kind of leveled out. Hilton's raced down to the bottom to meet the rest of them. So now you have to be kind of a free agent and go where the deals are. And I think each brand has their own specific use or their better sweet spot type of use. But even more so, I wanted to focus on like Globalist. Is it still worth it? It's going to cost you 25%, at least 25% more to get it than it would have before. And that's with either spending, yes, the credit card spend, you can earn the elite nights at the same rate, but those points are worth less. So you're losing value there. So the opportunity cost is higher. And then if you're doing mattress runs, which are kind of a thing of the past now that there's no real category ones most places anymore, you're going to be paying more for that. So you're paying more on the front end, you're paying more on the back end. And then when you go to get your perks, is it really worth it? Like, or should you just earn ultimate rewards and book into the suite when you want a suite and stay where you want and like not chase this thing? How much are people spending chasing this? And if you really look at it, like if you normally say in a category 4, it's going to cost you thousands of dollars more in points to stay the 30 nights or 40 nights that you normally would stay there.
Yeah, this is no longer a program where you're going to want to generate nights in that way. As you point out, just in your stays, you're paying more, obviously cash prices, but in the amount of points that you're having to redeem because of these category increases, because of the tiers and everything else, very rarely are you ever going to pay less. So the cost, that's a very interesting way to look at it, right? Because we don't tend to look at, okay, what does this status cost me 2 years ago versus what it cost me now? But even if you're staying the same number of nights, it's significantly more. It's costing you significantly more just to earn that. And the benefits, I don't feel like have grown as much. I don't get suite upgrades as much as I used to. And that's anecdotal, I guess. Also, I just don't feel like the status is as important as it used to be. And I think, as you point out in your article, there are many alternatives and not one program for one thing. It's not like, oh, see, Hyatt used to be the program where you could say, okay, there's some downsides. There's not enough locations, some other things, maybe not the mix of properties I want. But man, this is a program I can give them all my stays and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'll take those few sacrifices. And I don't think that Hyatt's that program anymore. And there is no program. I don't think anybody should be staying at Marriott properties all the time or Hilton properties, at least for their rewards program. So being a free agent really is the only way to maximize these days.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people didn't even really look elsewhere. They were just like, "Oh, it's Hyatt. I'm just going to search Hyatt because that's where I stay." And they would even plan their whole trip around Hyatt hotels. Like, "Oh, we can't go there, but we can go here because it has a Hyatt and stuff like that." And I think that's hard to walk away from because you've been so ingrained there. Maybe you haven't really even looked at other programs. You don't have as good of an understanding of other programs. But you have to also consider those baked in costs that Shawn was talking about. Did you stay 20 minutes away from where you really wanted to be? How much did you spend in Uber rides? Or how much did you spend on train tickets and things like that? How much time did you give up to stay at a Hyatt hotel? What's that worth to you? Like, I think there's all these little things that when you add that up, when you add how much less the points are worth if you're spending on your credit card, when you add in how much more you have to spend in terms of points to book those same stays, it's going to be a massive amount of money to get to that 60 nights if you're not already doing it because you live remotely and you move around a lot, or if your workplace is paying for it. If it's outside of that, even workplace people will stay like 20 minutes away from where they need to be, cost themselves sleep, extra time down at night, all that stuff to stay at Hyatt. Like, you have to consider all these things to make sure if it's worth it. And I think a lot of people are going to go through it with it this year because they're already pot committed and already had started this road, which makes sense. But I think in 2027, Hyatt's going to lose a lot of globalists.
And they should. They really should, because they're making a business choice. Again, this isn't personal. I don't hate Hyatt at all. I'll still stay in a lot of Hyatts this year and try to enjoy my status. And I'll indeed stay at Hyatts next year too. But they're making a different choice. And they've been doing this for years as they add more properties, as they try to add more brands, try to entice more property owners. I do think the program has largely shifted towards the property owners. Now, obviously, the whole business has changed a lot in the last few years too. The economics of it have changed. So they're just adjusting. And I think they really have grown up. Like you said, they are now, it feels like Hyatt was always a name that was bigger than the company. Like, I feel like everybody knew Hyatt like they knew Marriott as a name, but Marriott was 10 times bigger. I don't know what else to say, but I'm very sad. Shout out to the Hyatt Regency Wichita, Mark, because all these years, the Hyatt Regency Wichita stayed a Category 1 hotel. All the devaluations, it's stuck in there at Category 1. I stayed there like 10 years ago, right after they renovated it. Perfectly nice hotel. Finally, it's going to Category 2.
Yeah.
And so even the Hyatt Regency Wichita can't do that. So yeah, under the new system, what is Category 2 under the new system? It can go up to 15,000 points a night now from the 5,000 just a few years ago. That was the max.
And yeah, I've stayed there too. Funny enough, like middle of nowhere, flyover state, but we both stayed there. And it's a decent hotel for Category 1. It was a great hotel. And you know who's really going to be ticked when all these globalists leaves, though, is the customer they care about, the hotels, because they make hundreds of dollars off of globalists every time they stay. They get reimbursed for the breakfast, they get reimbursed for upgrades, all this stuff like parking, all these things. It amounts to easy charges for them that they bill back to Hyatt. So maybe Hyatt's happy if globalists leave because they don't have to pay as much. But the hotel owners are going to be kind of ticked when they don't see as many globalists coming through the door, and they're not racking up all those extra ancillary charges that they get easily reimbursed for. So we'll have to see how that plays out. I wouldn't be surprised if sometime during 2027 they roll out some elite night thing. Think about like the promos we used to get, double nights, all that stuff with credit cards, points back. We don't even get that stuff anymore. So they've gone full Hilton, full Marriott, and that's just the way it is, and that's fine. That's their decision. And now we need to make the decision. It's not all Hyatt all the time. Hyatt will still play a very big part or a very big role in our travels, but I don't think it will be the end all be all for a lot of people anymore.
Yeah, and there's always the chase factor in this, that you can earn ultimate rewards, and that makes it easy to acquire Hyatt points to some
Do you
extent.
want to transfer them anymore?
Well, that's the point, is that those points have real value, right?
Yeah.
You can cash those in, and they have value with other partners. And so a lot of people, I think, are like me, and I go talk to them at meetups and stuff, where my ultimate rewards have for many years now just basically been Hyatt points. I've just transferred them to Hyatt, haven't done much else with them, maybe the occasional Chase Travel booking or whatever. But I think that that's not just a no-brainer anymore. There are a few hotels, though, that are notable that are going down, Mark. Especially around in Sean's world, the Andaz Nanjing is going from a Category 4 to a 3. I may indeed be staying there later this year, so I'm excited about that. And then the Andaz in Macau, which I've always thought was overpriced at a Category 5, is going down to a Category 4. So there is a little bit of hope. You just got to go to China.
Yeah, and it's like all China that went down, but no, and this just makes free night certificates. I think free night certificates in Hilton are the best thing in all of hotel loyalty programs. Free nights at Hyatt are now worth a heck of a lot more. So if you're selling yours on the black market, you might want to be asking for more money because they cover a lot more points than it used to be, just 15K. Now it goes up to crazy amounts. So that, the Category 7 even more so. I think it's still annoying that if you earn them through status, they're only good for 6 months. That's crap, especially since they don't give points anymore if they run out. And then the fact that you can't tap them off. They need to fix both of those things with all this negativity that they've brought into the program.
And you talk about some of the promos they've had, points rebates, double elite nights, all this sort of stuff. I'm one who earned the status all these years the normal way, other than the first year I got it through a status match. But I remember, in the last 5 or 6 years, how many status matches have they done? How many shortcuts were people able to take advantage of to get status? I'm not saying that that's going to happen again. That is always a possibility. And so I don't know that it makes a ton of sense to pursue the status. I guess, for somebody like me, where the breakfast is a diminishing return, oftentimes I'm not even using it unless I'm at a fancy hotel. Less travel, less of those fancy hotels. I'm having to spend more points to your thing. I'm going to category A's. I'm having to spend 30, 40,000 points just to go to a nice hotel where I can get that nice breakfast. Yeah, the more I look at this, and I've been thinking about this for months, yeah, it just doesn't seem worth it to me. And you have a trio of articles, both talking about the category changes, the wider devaluation, and then also your wider strategy. And we've talked about, obviously, Hilton certs. You talk about a lot. So valuable, and everybody should be doing that. I mean, who doesn't want a nice stay when you're in a really fancy Hilton hotel, even if you just get a couple of those a year? All Accor, we've taken advantage of those transfer bonuses. Choice, we just saw the thank you devaluation on transferring Choice. Wells Fargo still has a decent rate. Yeah, your strategy's all over the place, and I think mine will be too.
Yeah, and I run through each type of hotel, like high-end luxury. These are the programs I use. Mid-tier to just below upper tier luxury. These are the programs I use. So definitely check out that write up, and it kind of dives into each type. Like roadside motel, I think IHG is the best. They're like half the price of Hilton and Marriott most of the time, and that's where their value is. Things like that. All inclusives. Hyatt is still king in all inclusives. They're not as much value as they used to be, but like Wyndham is a really good option that a lot of people overlook. And now that's you get 2 Wyndham points to 1 with Wells Fargo, so that's something worth checking out. And then I like to talk about the perks that you get from the credit cards. All these credits that we used to be annoyed with, and I even let some expire because I was like, I'm not messing with this. When FHR was $200, I barely ever used it. When the Delta stay credits first came out, I didn't really use those because I could get cheap hotels for money, so I wasn't like looking for like bottom basement $100 hotel to get this credit or whatever, and I didn't want to come out of pocket with FHR. Well, now FHR's moved up to 300, makes it a little bit better, but of course a lot of the hotels jumped up in price. But you get these perks that offset that extra cost, and that's a big thing for if you want Globalist perks for your stay. Maybe you cash out your ultimate rewards points. If you're going to get them at 1.25 cents at Hyatt anyway, cash them out and pay yourself back. Pay cash, book it through Privé or Privé. I don't know how you say it. And you get those same like Globalist type perks, but you're going to earn points on the stay too. So you end up coming out ahead. And I think that's where a lot of people need to start looking is, hey, if you're only getting 1.25 cents on average with Hyatt points come May and beyond, then start paying cash for things. Start looking at these other programs. Book through FHR. Use all your credit card perks. That's a way that can offset a huge chunk of your stays every year.
Yeah, and a lot of us, as you point out, that's a nuisance, right? It's like, oh, I got to do this, and it doesn't fit in with my wider strategy. And now, like, let's forget about the wider strategy. Let's just get us into hotels for as cheaply as possible, and maybe achieve the goal of traveling for quote unquote free, right? I mean, that's sort of a thing of the past anyway. But yeah, just move beyond it. I feel like there's probably a lot of people listening to this show that are in the same thing because you get into the space. First off, there's a lot of groupthink, right? And Hyatt's been popular, and I just said I'm an elite for 10 years, so I'm guilty of it. I mean, I don't even think I'm part of the group thing. I think it worked really well for me for a long time, and I think that a lot of people have found that to be the case. And just be willing to tell yourself that it's not the case anymore. And I do have points in all these different programs now, but I will miss something about the familiarity of having the top tier status. And we haven't got into this, but you can still get Hilton Diamond with a credit card. You can still get Marriott Platinum with a credit card. Those can get you breakfasts and stuff like that internationally. But just going into Hyatt, knowing that if they're selling a suite, I can get the suite, knowing the lay of the land. The lounge access used to be much bigger. Now in the US, there's hardly any lounges. But,
no lounges.
But also, Mark, there is guest of honor. And so if I'm going to splurge and I don't have the status, there's still a possibility of me getting all those benefits for 1 or 2 stays a year if I know somebody who has guest of honor. So that's another reason that I shouldn't be doing any of this.
Yeah, find the person that's still on the hamster wheel or that just has an insane amount of spend and racks up all these things or has their work pay for them. And that's a great reason to go to meetups, not to just try to get things for free for people. But as you grow friendships and stuff, you find ways like, hey, does anybody have a guest of honor they're willing to do, or even if you offer them money or whatever, they get the elite night credit now, so that might be worth it to them. But even like our friend Randy reached out, he's like, hey, I need to book a flight. It's Delta Sky Miles. I don't have any of those. I don't want to move membership rewards over just to book that. Can I book this for you? And do you need this over here? And I'll book that for you with these points that I don't really need. So you can like horse trade things, and that's just from growing your network and meeting people. And guest of honor is one of those side benefits of it.
Just stay within the terms, Mark. Just stay within the terms,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Elite night credits. That's what you should get. But no, you know people are selling them, so it's a thing.
Yes, but we're not buying them, just for the record.
No. Yeah, and I think that's another thing we could point out. Like, you can earn some of these things in milestone rewards along the way. Like, you can earn a guest of honor before you get to Globalist. So maybe you earn that, or if you're just a little bit away, maybe it's worth it if you have that one stay next year that's like in Hawaii and you're going to be there for 5 or 6 nights, and that alone makes it worth burning like 15,000 points booking a local hotel or something like that, or going to Rio and Vegas, and you can hold on to that and use it next year and stuff. So you can game plan around this a bit. I think a lot of times people have global status and they're staying at a hotel, like you said, that doesn't offer a lot of value, or you don't get breakfast because you're leaving early, or if you're at a Hyatt place, what does it matter? Things like that. I think it's overvalued in that respect as well. But another thing that's missing from Hyatt that these other programs offer, or a lot of them, is like 4th night free, 5th night free, things like that. And that can drop those prices down even further, and it looks even better compared to Hyatt at times. So there's a lot of good things still out there in the hotel realm outside of Hyatt.
And maybe Hyatt needs a little kick in the butt to say, hey, like, we can go elsewhere.
Oh, they're going to get it.
Or maybe not. Maybe we're not enough people in this community to affect their bottom line. I don't know.
We're enough globalists that it will hurt.
See, the bitterness is now coming out, Mark. I can sense the bitterness coming out. No, we both like.
I don't care. I haven't been globalist in like since the built free thing that they basically just gave it away. So
I've been getting smacked in the face with the fact that I shouldn't be a globalist anymore for the last year and a couple of years, right? Last year, I barely got there with some help from Rio. I didn't appreciate all those hash house breakfasts that I never ate. You know, how cheap they were.
I would have at least done that.
I don't know, but yeah, I think the world's smacking me across the face. Is that happening to you as you're looking at Hyatt, as you're looking at your travel for the next year and a half, 2 years, what your strategy is, what the cost is going to be? And, you know, are you being loyal to a company that you shouldn't be? And I think that's, they're not loyal to you. We've said this before. This is something that we have been consistent on for going back to 10 years we've been working together. It's just, you know, loyalty is not actually loyalty.
No. And if it made sense for you, and the math could still make sense for a lot of people. There was somebody that their business has a ton of spend in advertising, so they're earning 2x per dollar. They spend it on that card. They're giving up the extra 1x, but when they travel, they get suites for their family and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense. It's not like we're saying nobody should be Hyatt Globalist. It's just that's the thing we probably said more than anything. Run the numbers for yourself. Read the articles. Kind of it gives you the rough estimate or outline of what you should be looking at, and then plug in your own numbers for it. You could be completely different valuations for your points and versus me and all that stuff. So plug and play and then decide for yourself.
Hyatt Regency Tokyo Bay, Mark. I forgot about that one until just now. Man, another one. You know the Hyatt House in Shibuya? It's category 6. It's going to a category 6.
Sean's just going to name random ass hotels.
We're just going to keep going. Category 6. 40,000 points a night for a Hyatt House in Tokyo. There you go. Congratulations. Oh, man. Just you got
to pull out couch, though, man. No, it's probably one of those Hyatt houses that doesn't have the couch, like in the international ones or Hyatt places where they're like, no, you don't get that extra. We only allow you 2 people.
You know, Joe stayed there. He liked it. So shout out to that hotel. I don't know about 40,000 points a night. But yeah, let us know which hotels are hurting you, so I don't have to read out the whole list. There's a few, like I said, there was a couple good ones that I was excited about, like the Andaz in Macau, but they're few and far between. Most of this is painful. Hyatt Regency Coral Gables, the Hyatt Centric in Fort Lauderdale, Mark, for people like the cruise. That was a really nice category 4, probably one of the nicest in the entire country. That's going to category 5. Oh, it's just
Grand Cypress.
Oh yeah, Grand Cypress. Yeah, let's just end this here so we can go cry in the corner. But let us know, what are your plans for the future? What properties are going up that is kind of breaking your heart? Everything else that you've sort of figured out around all the Hyatt changes. Are you moving on with your loyalty? Let us know below. We do 2 shows a week. Tuesdays we do our travel. All that will be back then. We do 3 shows a week over on our Vegas channel. Make sure to check that out as well. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Talk to you next time.
Oh, you did a good job. You almost messed up there and would have had to redo it, but you got it. Have a good weekend, everybody.
How did I almost mess up?
You were like Tuesday.
I brought it home in the end. Thanks, everybody.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your